So here's what's going on. I'll get into it because I know you don't have all day, and for people watching, rewatching later, yeah, I'm not gonna get matched up with those guys again. Okay, so here's the story. The Halo 2 version's good. I like the Halo 2 version because it has like colors and stuff. So, this is how the story goes. So, the last, I guess you kind of got to go back. So, 3-ish years ago, my wife and I, we moved to California. She was going to college. We moved here because she was going to college and you know, getting her career sorted and off the ground. I left my job and we moved here. And long story short, I've been working a lot of just random odd jobs here and there, this and that, you know, just doing what we can to okay, sorry, I just got a text. You know, odd jobs here and there, doing this and that, and just, you know, trying to pay the bills and make it work. Finding a long-term thing was always a bit of a challenge, but also we didn't know kind of where we would land and what was going to happen. And so fast forward, she gets done with school, and last year the church that we go to offered me a 1-year contract to work there. And so, you know, I was working a lot of side gigs, and I was like, yeah, I'm down, and it would help supplement kind of what we're already doing. And so I took the 1-year contract, knowing full well that it wasn't promised that I would get another contract. They would renew. The goal was always, hey, we'd like to keep this going and, you know, make it happen and build on it. But I knew from the get-go that it wasn't. It was what it was. They had enough money for 1 year, and that's all they could like promise, so to speak. And so I said, you know what? I'll take the 1 year. You know, it's better than nothing. I have the time. I have the ability. I'm basically working part-time now, so you know, part-time plus part-time gets me close to full-time. And so that's what I've been doing this last year. And so then a couple months ago, they approached me and just said, hey, look, we're not going to be able to renew the contract. It's just purely budgetary. It's nothing to do with your performance. It has nothing to do with you or how you've been doing. It's been really good. And that's what's, you know, that's the big challenge in all of this. It's like, we really want to renew the contract. We want to build on this, but we just don't have the budget. And so the contract will be, they extended it, you know, they extended it a month for me, but the contract is going to be finishing up. And so, yeah, that was, you know, it was bittersweet for sure, because it's like, man, you want to keep going. You know, I love the work that I'm doing, the team, everything. It's all very positive and good. And so that's like, you know, that's a bummer. On the flip side of that coin, we have, you know, Katie and I have to make decisions for us and for our family. And, you know, part of those decisions are financial, right? And we have to figure out what are the best financial decisions and moves that we can make to set us up for success, right? To set us up for a future, to set us up for long term, where we want to be, our goals. So there's just all those things to take into account. And so, the last 2-3 months, we knew this day could potentially be coming. And so we've been thinking about it and just talking with each other. And and now, so that's all happening, right? That's been this last year. Now, the parallel track to that journey has been this content creation. And many of you would know that, the last, I don't know, since like 2020, last 4 years or so, I've been on this kind of content creation journey. And I've been, I've been going along and just making content and seeing what can come of it, seeing how I can leverage it to help, build our life financially, to help build a platform to make something significant, something meaningful. And that's been a really fun journey. It's been a really challenging journey. And, about 6 months ago or so, I kind of, came to the realization that it's going to, the content thing and doing content as a content creator on YouTube and the social platforms, for us, it's just not stable enough. It's too high risk. And basically what I mean by that is you live and you die by your content. And so anyone who's in this game knows you can have great ideas and they will totally flop. You can have, random ideas that you think are no good and they can explode. All that to say is the financial side of content creating is very inconsistent for me right now. Like, for people who are experts at it, it's not inconsistent, and they're really good creators. I'm still kind of on my creation journey, and so I don't have it all nailed down. I don't have it all figured out. I'm not making tons of money every month on social media, and so all that to say, I still am super passionate about it and I believe in it, but for the sake of my family, I absolutely have to be on something very consistent, have a, consistent hold it down job. And this is going to continue to be like a side hustle, be something that I do on the side. It's not going to be my main thing until it is. With that, made a lot of good progress this last year and a half. And my vision has changed a lot. And I've been doing a lot of just, you might have noticed the content has kind of taken a bit of a pause. The streams have taken a bit of a pause because I've been really kind of working through what my future in content looks like. 33 years old. It's definitely a young man's game, but it's not only a young man's game, And so I'm like, where's my place in all this? What does all this mean? What does all this look like, right? And so I've landed on, and you might have seen, I've started to build out a digital media company, basically where all this content lives. And the long-term vision of this is to be a little bit like a Barstool Sports, but a video game Barstool Sports, to put it like really simply. That's oversimplifying it, but essentially a digital media company that focuses on gaming. And I feel like that's a lane I can absolutely run in, especially when we start talking about getting into the giving back side and helping people and doing things in the community, with local children's hospitals and all this kind of stuff. That's right in my sweet spot. and where I think I found success, and a lane I think it would be really fun to run in. So I've been building that out, and I've been working on that and having a lot of conversations behind the scenes and doing a lot of work behind the scenes. And there's a lot there, but I'm not going to get into all of that. And so now that brings us to present day, where my contract is up at the end of this month, and I'll be totally jobless. And I've been applying just about every day, every other day, to jobs. My goal, and what I got from a wise mentor, was like, hey, because I told him about my business plan and what I want to do with For the Win. My goal is to hopefully find something in a similar lane to what I want to do with my business. So it doesn't have to be the exact same thing. It can be a different company, a different type of product or something, but basically something that's going to help me learn and grow in how I want to do my business, right? And so I've been applying at a lot of things, been trying a lot of things, and it's just so much work, and it's very tedious. And I have a couple, I feel like, decent leads, but honestly, like, as you guys know, a lead means nothing until it's a done deal. So there's just like a lot up in the air. And so I'm applying at stuff in the game industry. I'm applying at stuff at the digital media space. I'm applying at all kinds of things. And yesterday I finished up my resume and cover letter for Sega of America, because they have an office here in Southern California. And so I applied there, and there's a community manager role that I'm very well qualified and suited for. But I thought it would actually kind of be cool to read you guys my cover letter, because I liked how it turned out, and I like the route I went with it. Is it going to get me the job? I don't know. But I think it's pretty cool. So check this out. I'll read it for you guys. And this is just what I did. If you don't know, a cover letter is a thing you like put on top of your resume to basically sell yourself, why you'd be a good fit with the company, and kind of just share a little bit about who you are, and give a little bit of your voice. So I applied at Sega of America, and this is what I wrote on my cover letter. Here's the tweet. Let's maybe we can zoom that in, huh? Oh wait, right here. Huh? Can we zoom it in? Oh, there we go. So I wrote, I will never forget the summer of '95. Before setting out on a long family road trip, my dad gifted me a brand new Sega Game Gear, complete with a battery pack. Growing up in a low-income family, I cherished my Game Gear, and it traveled everywhere with me. Playing Joe Montana football on the bus to school, Sonic 2 on Saturday morning, Sega birthed in me a true passion for video games. Fast forward almost 30 years, everything has changed, yet somehow stayed the same. While my life looks different now as an adult, I still have my Game Gear. My passion and love for video games and Sega has only grown. From getting my first Game Gear to hearing the iconic C Mixolydian Sega logo play through my TV, my journey with Sega and its brands has been exciting and incredible joy. The past 10 years, I've managed gaming communities, honed my own gaming community, by the way, honed my expertise on all social media channels, marketing, created over 10,000 pieces of content. I'm an expert at working with people and have a deep passion and understanding of video games, gaming communities, and gaming culture. Working with Sega and for the Sega community would be a full circle moment and a dream come true. I appreciate you taking the time to review my cover letter and consider my candidacy for this position. I am confident that I possess the skills, knowledge, and experience necessary to excel in this role, and I look forward to discussing my qualifications with you in more detail. Excited to hear from you, continuing my journey with Sega that all started with a Game Gear. Sincerely, David Gracietto. So, that's my cover letter. I was happy with that. I was happy with the way it started with a Game Gear, ended with a Game Gear. It's all true. It was, that was my first handheld. I remember it was the sickest thing ever because it was in color, and I remember thinking, like, people who have Game Boys suck. We got full color, backlit. I mean, it was, it was fire. So yeah, that's my cover letter, and I don't know if I've ever had an interview. I don't know if I've ever had an interview where I didn't get the job. I think I've had one. But, like, I'm a big believer in, like, dude, I just got to get my foot in the door. I just got to have that conversation. And I feel like I can win people over. That's just me personally. I could definitely see you as a community manager. Yeah, no, I was looking at the job roles, and I was like, okay, I can't do, I don't have the skills to create a game. I don't have the skills to, there's a lot of jobs in the gaming industry that I'm just not qualified. I just, I haven't gone to school for this. I haven't learned how to code. I don't know any of this. But then you go and you look at the community manager roles, and it's like, oh, that's working with people, working with social platforms. It's everything. If you just pull up the list of requirements, it's all things I have done, I know how to do. It's all right up my alley. I'm like, oh, that's something that I can do. Now this Sega job is obviously like dream job. It's a big jump, like having not worked for a large corporate studio definitely puts me at a little bit of a disadvantage, but I do have experience. I do have lots of experience. I'm not like an 18-year-old kid out of high school. I'm 33 and I've been at this a long time. So we'll see what happens with that. I just thought I would share that. But the tension, and this is like kind of my final point here, and this is where I'm gonna land the plane, so to speak. Here's the tension I have. The tension is Katie and I, we have all these options in front of us, right? We can stay here. I keep working to find a job, see if I can find a job, see what happens. We can move back to Washington, live with their parents, save money that way, live in Washington. We could move anywhere. We could do anything. But part of me feels like right now, this moment, I have a window. And what I mean by that is I have people around me. I have opportunities around me. I have all these things that if I move anywhere else are going to disappear. Those opportunities will go away. Yeah, Katie's done with classes. She finished, I don't know, maybe almost a year ago. And I feel like if we move and I go do something else and I just go work a job and get a paycheck, I feel like part of that is me kind of just giving up on the dream a bit. Like that's it for the dream. And to give a little more context, right? You know, I've talked with my brother a lot about this, but like I've never been the kind of person that just wants to work a job, collect a paycheck. You know, I've always I can, and I have, and I do. But you know, my passions are completely elsewhere. And so all that to say, like the dream to have a content company and work in the video game industry and do good and bring value and you know, make a wave, like that's a dream. And there's, you know, I'm in a position right now where that's not fully impossible. It'll take work and there's, you know, tons that goes into it, but it's not something that I'm like, oh, this would never happen. And I feel like if we just call it and say like, hey, can't get a job here, whatever, and we just like go back to Washington, move in with our parents, I feel like for me that's like saying, all right, that's it. Like we'll that's like, to me it almost is like a content retirement. It's kind of what I feel like. I kind of feel like moving back to Washington would be a content retirement. And I know that's not true. And I know there's a lot of content creators who are incredible and make lots of money and live in the middle of nowhere. They're not in a city. They're not in a hub. They're not in all those things. But also, they don't have, they don't share the same kind of vision and dream that I have and the things that I want to do. They are happy with just streaming to their crew of people and making, VOD content around VODs and reacts and whatever. Like I want to build something bigger than that. And I think that's where my tension is. Because I want to build something bigger. I want to do something bigger. But I don't see that future playing out in Washington. And so, yeah, I feel like I don't know. I think, what's up, Noah? You're going to have to watch the VOD to kind of get caught up. But I feel like, for me, how do I explain this? Yeah, I feel like for me, okay. So the last 2 or 3 years, it's been hard to I've been trying to figure out what I want to do. I've been trying to figure out, I haven't had any dreams. I haven't had any things that I'm excited about. I haven't had any things that I'm passionate about. and I love my life. Like, I don't want it to sound like my life is depressing. I have an incredible life. I live in Southern California where it's, mostly sunny all the time, and I have a great church and community and friends, and we got Disney passes this year, so we can go to Disney whenever we want. I mean, my life is freaking incredible. So this is not a, oh, woe is me, my life is so rough. But it's, I don't know if you guys can relate or feel this, but it's like, I've always been someone who's been kind of a dreamer, and who's, when I get a vision for something, I'm passionate about it. And I remember when I first became a youth pastor, I had so much vision and passion. I knew this is what I needed to do, and for 8 years that carried me, and I was like, yes, this is it. I know it's it's small, and no one in the world knows what we're doing here, but I believe in this is important, and I love it. And that carried me through 8 years, and it was the best, and I have zero regrets about that. And then when I finished that season, I was like, what am I, like, what's next? What can I don't know what's next. And it was more of the season has been like, hey, let's support Katie, because she's pursuing her dream of doing occupational therapy and going to her dream school. And so a lot of it has been, I just kind of taken the back seat and supported her in that, and that's been really important. And I'm really, really happy for her, and really encouraged to see her. And she loves what she's doing. It's fulfilling for her, and I am in full support. And she's helping provide for us right now, especially with me losing my job and everything. So I'm not bitter or upset about that in any way, but I have been struggling the last 2-3 years to figure out, like, where's my place? What's my dream? What's next for me? And I feel like I'm starting to get a little bit of a dream back, starting to get a glimpse of something, of what could be. And now I'm in this place where I have this dream that I want to pursue, but also life comes at you quick, and the reality is like, we can't put our life on hold and on pause so that I can pursue this dream. For instance, if this dream is going to take me, let's just say 10 years, it's going to take me 10 years to build out a company. We don't want to live in a 1-bedroom apartment with all its problems for the next 10 years. And if we want to have kids, or we want to get a house, we can't do that just on me, just on my wife being the only one working, et cetera, et cetera. Does that make sense? So that's the kind of the tension with all of this. But it's hard, right? Because it's what it's like to have a dream and something you want to pursue. Maybe you don't. I don't know. But it's there's just, it's a tough call. It's a tough call, because what's worse? I guess that's the question. I guess that's what I'm wrestling with. Just saying goodbye to the dream, and just doing what you got to do to live life and make sure you're pursuing a future, or kind of sacrifice that for the other. I don't know. And I also struggle because the last decade, I haven't been pursuing this. You know, I've been pursuing helping other people and building the church and doing other things. And so, you know, I have to fight against the feeling of, well, man, if I would have just been like, you know, building my own thing, we could be cooking right now, you know. So it's a challenge. It's a challenge to like be in that weird space. So I don't have an answer. I don't know what we're gonna do. Like I said, I have a couple good leads, and I'm like really praying that this one guy emails me back. A big TV company really wants to get into video games, and I've been talking with their head of programming or something, and so I understand everyone isn't on my timeline. They don't fully realize like the tension I'm in. But again, like nothing is guaranteed, nothing is certain. And even though I have some good leads and good contacts and communication, I still feel like I'm like dead in the water right now, you know, or actually not dead in the water, but treading water. That's a good analogy. Just kind of like treading water and throwing out resumes. And here's the other kicker. It's like, I can't just, I'm not at the stage where I can just go work a, you know, part-time job or, you know, get a fast food job or like whatever. Like I have to get moving on something that's stable, something that's career building, you know what I mean? So, man, that's kind of where it's at. And so I'm like fully committed first, obviously, to my family, and then to this for the win, and got some more things cooking. And I'm going to work on for the win until I can't, until I have to be like, look, I just cannot anymore. Until that day comes, we're gonna be cranking out content and trying to do things and have some fun and you know, not going anywhere. I also have a massive chip on my shoulder because I grew up in a generation where we were told video games can't make you money, it's a complete waste of time, it's not worth anything, you're wasting your life playing video games. To which I completely disagree, and I rage against that sentiment. That's a whole nother video that we can get into, but that couldn't be like, that's kind of just a ignorant take, to be honest. And I don't look, I don't fault my parents either, because there was no real examples. Okay. You know, when we were having dinner and me and my brother wanted to go to a Halo tournament, and, you know, my parents were like, you can't even make money playing video games. Like, have you made any money playing video games? And all we could do is kind of say like, no, not really. That was in 2007, 2008. Now the world is a different place. And now kids can look at hundreds and thousands and tens of thousands of different creators and gamers and all these people say, look, here's a path forward, here's a path forward, here's a path forward. Mr. Beast didn't exist when I was, you know, in high school. And so, you know, it's a totally different dynamic, totally different time. And so I have this little chip on my shoulder as well to be like, look, dude, like, this is real. And whether you you think it's a waste of time, whatever, but like, it's real, and there is a career here to be made. There is a life here to be made, and You can get on board, you can not get on board. It's up to you, but like this is what we're doing. So that's another facet to the diamond. So yeah, that's kind of a long rant, but I wanted to update you guys on kind of where I'm at with my like job, personal life, personal content, building out for the win, building out all that stuff, and kind of what that's what that's gonna look like and what that can look like. So I don't know what the future holds. I pray to God that sometime in the next month I'll be able to come on stream and be like, title of the stream is I got a job at Sega. How sick would that be? Turn up. But we'll see, man. It's so much of it is out of my control, and so much of it is in my control. And that is the tension of life. That would be sick. Mega sick, yeah. For sure, Marty. For sure. That's the tension of life, and that's where I'm at with everything.